Welcome back to the Salon Owners Collective podcast. I'm Larissa, founder of Salon Owners Collective, a 20-year salon owner, and this is part two of a two-part series I've called New Level, New Devil. And so if you haven't listened to last week's episode yet, go back, start there, because it walks you through everything that we're talking about today. And I'm going to leave a link in the show notes of this episode for you to go and find that episode. You're welcome to keep listening to this one if you're driving, but maybe go and listen to the other one a little bit later. But if you have listened to it and you've made the decision, the Go CEO Pro decision, or you're close to making it, you're thinking about it, this is the episode that talks about what comes next. And today we're talking about the Queen moves, or the systems that are going to help you move to a new level. But when you move to a new level, there is a new devil. So I'm just going to give you some pre-warning of what to expect and what Queen moves to make, so you don't have to, fight with the devil. So most people in the industry, there's this feeling, and it's kind of known, but nobody actually talks about it out loud. So I want to talk about that today. And that is that you can't scale broken. Like if you're broken, there's parts of your business that are broken, and you try to grow and scale and you haven't fixed those, you're just going to scale the brake. Like the brake is not going away just because you grow. And so I want to talk about the 3 Queen moves that are going to, that you need to tackle, so you don't try to grow something that's broken, because you just, double broken basically. So let's talk about the Queen move, because in chess, the Queen is the most powerful piece on the board. Like she can move in any direction. It's forwards, backwards, diagonal, one move, one square, 10 squares. I don't even know if there's 10 squares on the board, but you get what I mean. Like she can change the whole game in one well-placed move. But most salon owners in our industry are playing like the pawn, the little guy at the front. Like the pawn can move one square. I think it can only move forward. Maybe it can move back, but it can move forward one or back one. Like they're little teeny tiny moves. They're reactive, and those pawn moves mean that you get stuck in the daily grind on the floor, stuck in worrying about rosters, team dramas, who's running late and clients that are turning up late, the minutia. And the Queen move actually is the strategic repositioning that changes the whole board game, because business is actually just like playing a game. And it's not one move, it's a series of moves, each built upon the other and built upon the last. And each one is asking you actually to become someone that maybe you haven't become yet. And if you want to grow your business and shift the business and get out of the growth ceiling, like if you're 2 steps forward, 2 steps back, and you're just stuck, like I can't get past 10K a week, then actually your business is just crying out for you to make a Queen move. So I want to walk through those Queen moves. There are 3 of them. So let's talk about the first one. And the first one is the manager. My first Queen move, of course, outside of opening the salon in the first place and taking on my first apprentice and first senior, because those, you can't really call those Queen moves. We've all done that. That's how you get to be called a business owner, right? So the Queen move actually was turning one of my team members into a manager. Choosing to get a manager, because at the time I had 2 salons and I needed someone to take care of each of the salons while I was, off visiting the other one. But actually for the first time, I completely got that wrong. Like unsurprising, first time you do something, you get it wrong. But I chose a girl, I promoted her, and then I assumed that you just know what to do. Like I had no written job description. I was too scared of what that was. No accountability structure. I didn't know what that was. No real handover of what the role actually required, because I'd just been winging it myself, And she just wasn't the, like my mindset was, didn't she just watch what I did and then she would know what to do? Because that's exactly what I had done in my last business that I worked in. I was an apprentice, I became a senior, and I watched my last owner, what she did, the decisions that she made, the things that she did. And I actually just did everything the opposite of what she did, because she didn't respect anything that she did. So I just thought, well, she did it like that and I'll just do it the complete opposite. And during my apprenticeship, I had just watched my seniors on how to do a haircut and how they did a shampoo and all of those things. I just watched. Like that was how things were done then. And I watched, and so I just assumed other people would watch me and learn. But she did not watch the things that I did. And so I got frustrated when she didn't do the things that I expected her to do. And then I would just go and do them myself, because I kind of had the mindset. It's like, well, one, she didn't do it. Two, now she's on the floor. It needs to get done. And I know how to do it fast. But it did mean that I hadn't actually hired a manager at all. I'd hired a witness to my frustration, because I was frustrated. And what I learned eventually is that you can't hold someone accountable to a role that you haven't clearly defined. Sounds fair and logical. And accountability actually isn't telling somebody off and telling them that they didn't do it, or, having a negative experience. Is actually setting them up to succeed, and then caring enough to have the conversation with them when they're not succeeding. That's the whole process. And that's what we now call the 100K mentor. We want to mentor our team so they can earn 100K, in salary or wages. So not only mentoring team members to perform, but mentoring managers into their role. Because a manager without without direction isn't a manager. They're just a senior stylist with a title that you're paying extra while you do her job. So my first real queen move was learning that, and that the next time around, having a really clear job description, being really clear about my role in mentoring with that manager, having structured meetings, the 5 meetings that rule them all. And if you haven't seen that, got that, then I'll leave the link to that in the show notes of this episode. Actually, I did a podcast on this recently, and I'll put a link to the show notes of that podcast also in the show notes of this podcast, just to be super handy. When I did that podcast, I also created a resource for you that you can get your hands on, so you can do better meetings. There are only 5 meetings that you need to do, like baseline, and you can't build $1 million business on your own. It's just not possible. By the time you get to 6, 7, maybe even 8 people, you need to have more than one person running the ship. And if that's you, it's time for you to get a manager. Okay, so that was queen move number 1, is get a manager. Queen move number 2 is get off the floor. That actually was my second queen move. To stop only working with clients and actually start working on my business. So my question to you is, like, if you are serving clients all day, who's running your business? So coming off the floor wasn't just logical, because it was logical, but it was really emotional. And there was that conversation that needed to be had at reception, telling clients that they're going to be looked after by somebody else now, next appointment, watching their face, wondering if they'll come back to the business. And there was all this guilt about asking team members to take on things that I was no longer going to do. Like, I could imagine in their mind them thinking like, well, what are you going to do? Because they actually don't know what you need to do to run a business, rightly so. And I felt like I was giving them all of the heavy lifting while I went home to sit on my deck chair in the sunshine, which of course wasn't actually true. I don't know why I imagined that, but I know after talking to many a salon owner, like somehow we tell ourselves this story, even though it's completely not the reality. And at that time, I was working harder than ever, but just differently. I wasn't just working hard by serving clients. I was working on the business, but somehow I felt bad, like I'd owed my team an explanation for why I was no longer doing the things that I would always done. So, and then there was the price increase, because part of that strategy is moving off the floor. Is like, you can't charge the same as the business owner as somebody who's been qualified for a year and you've been in business 20 years. It just does not make logical sense. But I remember a moment that I put my prices up. Actually, with the whole salon, I put the price up, and I doubly put my price up because I was now the owner's price, the master stylist. And I had this beautiful client. I'd done her from maybe the second month in my apprenticeship. And I'd looked after her for years and years. She was 80 years old. I'd been doing her weekly blow wave, and she was so heavily discounted, almost the same price that I'd been charging back when I'd done was doing her in my apprenticeship. Anyway, we'd significantly put our prices up throughout the whole salon, and I had to tell her that her blow wave was going from $20 a week to $30 a week. So when you think about it, that's a 50% increase. And my beautiful 80-year-old client that I adored. But there I was. She'd walked in the door. I knew everyone else on the team was tentative about putting their prices up. And there was my 80-year-old client, and I had to go and tell her while everyone was at reception, good Lord, I had to go over to the couch. We had a couch in those days, and tell her that her price had gone up by 50%. Not that I said it like that. But I had to take a big gulp and do it anyway, because if I expected my team to have that conversation with their clients, then I needed to show them that it was possible, that I was brave enough, and I needed to go first. And so queen moves aren't often just strategy. They're a requirement in change of character. Like, you need to be able to put your big girl undies on and pull them up tight and then go and do the things that you need to do, to become someone that you're not yet. And probably, if I think about it, I was, 26. I was young. And had they not been standing at reception, I might have skirted the issue. And so I really needed to step into confidence, which I didn't have. I just faked it till I made it. But it taught me a good lesson that I need to go first, to not only get off the floor, I need to lead by example. And that was definitely the queen move. It was not just the strategy, but the character requirement to become someone I had not been yet. And honestly, for me, sometimes that feels really exciting to work on something or do something different or new, because I love to learn and I love to evolve, but it's also quite confronting to be confronted with the things that maybe, you're a bit shit at, or you're a bit shy of, or you're a bit scared of, and things that you need to improve on. And so both things are true. You need to do it, and you need to do it anyway, feel the fear and do it anyway, every single time. So there's probably two queen moves in there. One's get off the floor. Make time to work on the business, because if you're serving clients on the floor, who the heck's running your business? But also the queen move is you need to become someone that you haven't been before. New character, new level, new devil. And the last queen move actually is letting people in. And this is probably the hardest one to talk about, because it happens all of the time. If you want to grow a business and it's constantly going to be moving forward, in forward momentum, then it's going to always happen to you, letting people into your business. Let me tell you what I mean by that. In the salon, the hardest move of all was not getting off the floor, was not getting the manager, or not even the price increase. It was selling and walking away from 30 people that I loved dearly, like my family. And it wasn't a business decision in that moment. It felt more like a personal divorce. But I was divorcing 30 people. I still loved those people. But I was choosing the next 20 years of my life. I'd had a great 20 years, and I was choosing a different 20 years, not leaving the industry, but leaving that particular business. But it meant letting go of the team, letting go of everything that the business had become for me, an identity that I saw myself as a business owner. It was everything to me, actually. And it took a long while to grieve, but it was definitely worth it. And that was definitely a letting go and letting somebody else come in and take the baton and take over what had been mine. And now currently at Salon Owners Collective, this letting go process, it looks different. But this is the same letting go process that I went through growing my salon, then letting go of the salon, and now in Salon Owners Collective over the last 9 years, it's been a different type of letting go. Not letting go of people, that's not what I mean, but letting people in, letting go of something so somebody else can come in and take the reins. Doesn't mean that you let go completely, but somebody else needs to be able to do some of the things that you traditionally did. So a current example would be that Joel now runs the boardroom program. And so he coaches the boardroom program. I support him, but I'm secondary in that environment. He leads that. And once upon a time, I did that. Anna now runs the first call when people want to come and join Salon Mastery. Anna runs the first call and I run the second call. So if people are a fit and it feels like the right move, then the first call was with Anna. I had to let her do that, and that was really hard for me to let go of, because nobody can do it like me. That's a joke. The joke is, like, of course people can do it like you. You have to create a system and a process so people can do it like you, but not be you. And then I do the second call. And now Greta runs some of the monthly workshops. Each month she runs usually 2 of those workshops. I used to run all of them, but now Joel and Greta help me run those workshops. And other team members have taken on systems, processes that I used to do myself. Because if I didn't, we wouldn't be where we are, and we wouldn't be able to serve owners in the boardroom in Salon Mastery. My Salon CEO wouldn't be able to build the operating system that is My Salon CEO. So there is a giving away and letting people in. So rather than feeling like you're letting go to lose something, you're letting go to let somebody in so you can gain it. And honestly, what that actually feels like is like it's scary and it's risky, and it can feel heavy to have to manage and mentor or convince people to do it a certain way. But having to build something that still feels like you, even when you're not in the room, like that is the goal. And at the same time, it's exciting. Like I love to learn. I love to try new things. And I love to work on something that we've never done before, which is let somebody else, let go a little, let somebody else in, even if that means being confronted with the things that you're a bit shit at right now. Do you know, like the things that you haven't tried before? There's definitely things to improve on. So both things are true. What letting people in actually feels like, and letting go of some of the control. And so just to be clear about, like, I haven't let go of so many things that have disappeared. I'm still part of it. But people come into Salon Owners Collective partly because of me. And I know that. People come to the salon because of you. You know that. So the work isn't to remove yourself completely. The work is to extend yourself. That is the goal, not to remove yourself and to sit on the beach somewhere. Although you want to do a little bit of that, don't get me wrong, but to extend what you bring to the table, to extend yourself for the brand and so the brand can become an extension of you. Right? To build a team that delivers the standard and the experience and the results, so that someone, for example, when someone joins Salon Mastery, or a client walks into your salon, or a salon adopts My Salon CEO as their operating system to run talent development engine, for example, like an operating practice in their salon, or a new team member joins you and you want them to serve clients that you once loved. Like, they need to get the best of what you've built, not just the best of me or the best of you on any good day. Because sometimes if we carry too much and we try to do too much and we don't let go of the things, we're not that good on any given day. We hold too much, we commit to too much. And my message really is that the business doesn't need more hours of you. It needs more essence of you. So every queen move that I made a cost. There's a cost of every queen move that you make. It costs you something. And first of all, it cost me like who I thought I was. I had to shift that, and it cost me the role that I always played. And I needed to do a new role, new level, new devil. And then it cost me the team that I loved, but that allowed me to live a different life. And then every single time the business grew, when I did let go and I did let somebody in, and let go so it didn't need more hours of me, and instead let go to have the essence of me, or the essence of you, or the essence of the brand, so you can be congruent there. And so the piece I want to leave with you is that every single time the business grew, because I did, every single time the business will grow when you do. And none of those moves are about removing yourself from the business just to go and sit at home on the beach or whatever. It's about extending yourself into it, extending myself into the business. Your business doesn't need more hours of you. It needs more essence of you. So that is my message. And before you go, I want to know exactly like where you stand now in your business growth journey, because making queen moves without knowing what business stage that you're in, what growth stage you're in, is like making chess piece moves without seeing the whole board, like making a chess piece move and you're not even on the board. So I've built the map. The $1 Million Growth Plan is a walkthrough of every stage that a salon goes through as it grows towards $1 million plus. And it shows you exactly where you are right now, because that's important. You can't go where you're going if you don't know where you are right now. What challenges are likely to sit right ahead of you, and where to put your energy right now, given where you are and what's going to come next. So nothing that you do, like the things that you put your attention into, we don't want those to be wasted because they're the wrong things at the wrong time, at the wrong stage of business growth. And I didn't have this when I started, and I really wish I had. So I made it for you. And it's free, by the way. So I really want you to go and get it. I'm going to put the link to the $1 Million Growth Plan in the show notes of this episode. But honestly, it's everywhere. It's on the Insta bio, it's on my webpage, it's on the Facebook, it's on all the places. And I just want you to know too, once you've watched that, it's 30 minutes. I think it's actually 28 minutes to go through. And you can self-assess your business, where you're at, what stage you're at, and what is the next right move for you. So you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something sticks. And if you want to go deeper, and if you want to have a full strategy built around where you are now, around your salon, so you can just kind of stop winging it, stop throwing spaghetti at the wall and just kind of crossing your fingers, and you really want to start building towards the $1 million, I'd love to get on a call with you. And our goal would be to map out that 12-month plan together. And we'll look whether Salon Mastery is the right fit for you, given where you're headed and the goals that you have. I'm going to leave the link to that in the show notes of this episode. Now, next week, because the queen moves are only half the story, the other half is that you can't scale broken. And I want to talk about that next week on the podcast. All right, that's a wrap from me. Till next week, same time, same place on the podcast. Ciao for now.